I pity the fool who don't play the new Mr. T board game. Look at this, Milton Bradley, and there he is. That's my idol, Mr. T. I love Mr. T. He's, by the way, a genuinely good person. I've had the good fortune to meet him a few times. One time I went to the Jimmy Kimmel show, and Mr. T was a guest on the show. I was out in California, and as I'm walking down the street, I was wearing a Mr. T t-shirt because it's Mr. T. And the guy beckoning people into the Jimmy Kimmel show, because by the way, if you're out in Hollywood, these shows, they have a lot of trouble filling those seats. Not everybody wants to sit down for an hour and watch a recording of a TV show. So the guy said to me, he goes, you know, Mr. T's on the show tonight. And I was, because I was ready to just walk on by. Because I've done seat filling for money. I did the Ellen show. I got to sit there and I got paid for it. So I was like, I'm not going to come see Jimmy Kimmel for Mr. T. So I went in and I sat there. I watched Mr. T came out. I had my Mr. T shirt on. And before the show started, they brought me and they sat me closer. They're like, how many are in your party? And they moved me up. And my wife goes, it's because of your shirt. I said, yeah, I know. I said, they probably want to get it on camera, which is super cool, right? And so then I see Mr. T peeking through the curtain. He's looking over. I was like, oh my God, that's Mr. T. And he's looking over at me. They did get like a really cool shot on the show where you could see me sitting there with my shirt clapping like a big buffoon. And I remember towards the end of the show, Mr. T was standing off to the side. He was standing there with Patton Oswalt and Jimmy Kimmel, and they were like in a commercial break. And Mr. T motions for me to come over. He's like, come over here. I start walking over, make a beeline to Mr. T. Security guard stops me right before I get to Mr. T. I'm like 3 feet away. And there's a railing between me and Mr. T. And the security guard stops me, says, you need to step back. I said, yes, sir. And Mr. T starts patting the security guard on the back, right? Security guard is not listening to him. And now I'm looking at Mr. T. And Mr. T's like, you know, come on, don't listen to the security guard. And so I don't know what to do. I'm torn because I want to listen to Mr. T. I also don't want to disobey the security guard. But we got two tough men, the security guard and Mr. T, and they're both telling me to do opposite things. Mr. T starts slapping the guy like this, just like to get his attention. He's like, excuse me. And the guy turns around with this. I can see his face go like this. He turns around and goes, okay, Mr. T, and it moves the barrier, and I go over there, I get to shake hands with everybody. Mr. T talks to me. I took a picture with Mr. I love Mr. T. Mr. T's the best. So we're going to be reviewing this Mr. T board game, card game, Mr. T card game. This was from the animated series Mr. T. This is when he coached a bunch of gymnastics kids. I don't know why, but I loved every second of it. This was from Milton Bradley. You don't see Milton Bradley on games anymore. We found out that Hasbro owns Milton Bradley, and they no longer use this logo anywhere. So on these classic games, you got that key. It was a key to fun. This was for, oh man, ages 5 to 10. I can't play this. I'm not 10 anymore. All the games back then, this was like a thing. They tell you, you're too old for this game. 2 to 4 players. We got to match and collect the most cards. This I love. That's a game I want to play. I don't want to play a game where I got to learn all kinds of rules. I want to play a game where I match the most cards and then I win. Play your cards right and you're a winner. Take it. Oh, this is supposed to be a Mr. T, so I got to do Mr. T voice. Play your cards right and you're a winner. Take it from me, Mr. T. I love the dog. Always had the Mr. T mohawk. And then there was the little kid. He's not on the cover, but he was my favorite character. I'm sure he's inside. But the little kid wanted to be Mr. T, and he did everything. He had the gold chains, but he didn't do the mohawk. I was like, you know, commit, kid. All right. So this actually, even though it's a card game, this one actually has a game board. Very small game board. And I bought this used. I bought this at a garage sale at one point in time. I'm a big garage sale fan. This is a very cheap board, but it is held up. You can see where it was perforated and ripped off of probably some other parts inside the game. Somebody, the previous owner, had colored this. Not a bad job, I would say, but I think that markers were not the right choice to color this. But not a bad job. Young child from the 80s who's now older than me probably. Although it did bleed through, so that's going to be a little harder to read. Open the game board and place it on a flat surface so it's easily accessible to all players. Each player takes a position, either 1, 2, 3, or 4, so that's pretty easy. You can see you'd all sit around, you know, Set this around your table. Shuffle the cards. Don't look at your cards. Preliminary rounds, all players take the top card from their draw pile. So this sounds like a very simple game. I like that kind of a game. I like a game you can kind of pop open and just play. And, you know, sometimes like you're playing games this late at night, your mind's not, you know, you're not sharp anymore. You're not all caffeinated. Usually board games are a late night thing. Maybe you had a couple beers or something. You know, you pull out your Mr. T game and realize you're too old for it. But this is like the insert that keeps the cards separated from everything else. But I love that. It's got the Mr. T logo with him just breaking the T, just crushing it. I like this though. Simple game, simple, fun game. I like this as well. There's usually in a board game, there's just miscellaneous pieces of cardboard. Like sometimes you'll get an old game, somebody have punched out things, and they just throw that right back in there. Sometimes there's pencils, buttons, all kinds of just rigmarole gets stuck inside your board game. All right, here is your deck of cards. They all say Mr. T on them. And we've got our different characters from the show. We've got Woody. There he is. You got a friend in me. All right. We've got, what's her name, Rodan? Oh, Robin. Okay, it's reversed, by the way. What I'm looking at, the monitor I'm looking at is reversed. I thought her name was Rodan. I thought she was like, Rah! And Mr. T was going to fight her. This is Robin. She was one of the gymnastics kids. Bus. Okay. Got the Mr. T card. I like that. I like that the best. Got Jeff. Oh, Jeff. Got Dozer. I love Dozer. Dozer was super cool. And let's see here. There's Kim. There's Kim. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That they don't have the little kid. Where's the little kid? I like the little kid. This is who I'm looking for. The little kid. Robin's brother, Spike. Look at him there with his gold chains hanging around with Mr. T. Why is he not in this game? He's like the one. This is a game for up to 10 years old, but everybody in it's older than that. In dog years, Dozer's got to be like 100. And then we've got Bus. Bus isn't young. Kids aren't relating to Bus. Just wrong. All right, let's read how to play. First player takes the top card from your draw pile, place it face up, and then they play two players showdown. But how do you know which one's worth more? Okay, so you place your card and you want to match the other cards. During the preliminary round, here are possible situations that can occur and the results. Situation A, no cards match each other, but one is a Mr. T card. Result, the player with the Mr. T card showing wins all the cards because there are no matching cards showing. All right, fair enough. Situation number 2. No cards match each other or all cards match each other. It's a stalemate. All right, so it's all about matching. So all you're doing is matching and collecting. I think that sounds easy enough. Sounds like fun. The cards are super cool. There's less Mr. T cards, I think, right? That's the rarity. Yeah, the Mr. T card should always win, to be honest. I gotta say. Game's not called Kim. Game's not called Woody. It's not called Bus. There he is. There's Mr. T. And right now, box going to pop up here. Box going to pop up here. Come back tomorrow. New video tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed looking at this old game. I sure did. I'll see you next time. Choose a box.